Hi, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining today. We're going to be chatting all about peppers, everything from what varieties to grow to how to grow them and how to harvest them, how to use them, how to preserve them, a little bit of everything. Hi, everybody. Welcome. If you haven't already, pop into the chat and let us know where you guys are joining us from. I would love to hear from you guys and see where everybody is joining us from today. So I am here in Zone 7 in Oklahoma City. And we were actually planning on doing the live stream this week because we wanted to do a bunch of gardening outside. And we're like, oh, it's spring break. The kids are all at home. I was like, let's do a live stream from the garden. Well, it is extremely windy again today. So we were like, well, yeah, that's not going to happen. So we saw the forecast. We're like, yeah, we got to do something different. So peppers, it is. So it's time for me to start my peppers. I haven't, and I feel like I am way behind. So let's chat all about peppers. And yeah, that's exciting. And also before I forget to mention too, while you guys are popping into the chat and saying hi and introducing yourself, you guys are all being entered in to win this week's contest. So we have a giveaway that we're doing, which is a free 1-year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription, along with some pepper seeds from Park Seeds. So you get to pick your favorite of ones that we're going to talk about today, or some pepper seeds. So I'm really excited to get started. And before I forget to, we do a giveaway during this live stream as well as immediately like next week. So we're going to be, for those who weren't able to join us live, you can still comment and enter to win, and we'll draw a name and announce a winner at the beginning of next week's live stream. Awesome. Yeah, we have so many states in here. It's amazing. I love that there's a little bit of everybody. So that way, pretty much whenever there's a question if somebody has a specific question, I feel like there's always somebody that's around that area and can chime in. You guys are all amazing. Okay, so let me announce the winner really quick from last week. Last week, let's see, I drew it right beforehand. Oh, thank you, Dale. He's helping me behind the scenes. So congratulations. Here, let me pop up the comment that was drawn. Congratulations. All you need to do is just email us at info@seedtospoon.net, and we'll get you hooked up with a free year of premium subscription. So yay! And it could be any of you guys in the chat next. So keep commenting, and like I said too, if you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them over there into the chat, and we'll kind of just be chatting about peppers and answering questions as we go. And if we don't get to your question throughout, like I'm going to try my best to. And Dale is in the chat too, so he'll be chiming in as well. And we will answer as many as we can throughout. So welcome, everybody. Let's talk about peppers. And I do have to say really quick, here, let me show you this. So this is how much we love peppers. This is my binder. This is my warm season binder. And yeah, and this is all of my pepper seeds. So there's this, this, and this. Oh, it's still going. This is peppers also. Yeah, that's where it ends. Whew, moves to squash. I pulled these out today just because I was like, oh, let me pull a couple pepper seeds out so I can get started. I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many pepper varieties. I was like, I don't know which ones to do. So we love peppers. Peppers are like just one of our favorite things to grow because they always tend to do really well here for us in Zone 7 here in Oklahoma. And there's something that just keep producing for us most of the time. I mean, when it gets too hot outside, it's not going to, but I say like it's just one of those that in one pepper plant can be super prolific, give you lots of peppers. There's so many fun and unique varieties, different colors, different tastes, different textures. Like there's so many peppers out there. And so it's just something that I feel like there's something for everybody here. And even with like bell pepper, sweet pepper, like there's so many different varieties. We'll talk more in depth about each one, but there's just something for everybody. So even if peppers are too spicy for you, there's other types of peppers. So like there's just something for everybody. The first ones I want to talk about are going to be like one of the most sweet peppers out there, which is the bell peppers. These are the ones that I can get the kids to eat. And we love to grow the, so Park Seed has this rainbow blend of bell peppers that do awesome. And I love growing them because there's all sorts of different colors. And you guys know I'm a huge fan of all of the different beautiful colors. And I love purple bell peppers too. There's just so many amazing varieties out there, but they have this rainbow variety of, at Park Seed that I absolutely love. That's one that we grow every year. So I'm going to have to find that and start that today. I even have my biodome over here ready to go, which we'll talk a little bit more about how to seed start them here in just a little bit. But um, purple bell peppers, rainbow bell peppers, they're all incredible. They're more of the sweet peppers. And so this is for those who don't like the spicy or anything like that. These are perfect for you. And then kind of in the middle of those two are the banana peppers. So I personally am a huge fan of banana peppers. They're more like tangy instead of like they're not necessarily sweet, but they're not really hot. They're kind of like a nice medium, I feel like, between hot and the sweet. And I love banana peppers and I use them in a lot of different ways, but I wanted to touch on those too and let you know that there's some other options out there besides just the typical ones that you're thinking of with the hot ones. So these hot ones they can range all the way from there's mild jalapenos, which I am a huge fan of. I love those. And there's Park's Whopper jalapenos too, which are huge, huge jalapenos. They're amazing. They're like this big and they're so good. They're probably one of my favorites out there. But I absolutely love, love, love those Whopper peppers. And then, so it goes all the way from like the mild, all the way up to the really, really hot. Like we're talking like the ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper, those ones right there, where you have to be brave to grow those in your garden. We've tried them before and we had to make sure to very clearly label. So we had labels on all of our peppers that we had like some of them we had green, yellow, and red labels that we were using for them. And we told the kids, we're like, do not touch the ones with the red labels on them because the red labels will be extremely spicy. So, and these ones right here, like the Whopper jalapenos, those are really good. They're nice yellow, I'd say, like they're not super overwhelmingly spicy, but they are just, they're really, really good. So there's so many ranges here from super sweet to super hot. There's so many varieties. Like I showed you, I don't even have a fraction of what Park Seed carries at their store. And I have so many different ones. Here it's incredible. So yeah. So let's talk seed starting real quick for peppers. So you want to get these started indoors just to get a head start on your peppers, especially for me. Yes. So Casey, great question. So is it best to start indoors on peppers? Yes, I recommend starting them indoors because first of all, I can get a head start on them and get them ready to go because right now it's way too cold outside. You really don't want to be planting peppers outside until it's consistently above at least like 45 or 50 degrees Fahrenheit, because they can really get stunted from the weather. If they do not like cold at all. So I always start them indoors and get a head start on them, and then I'll gradually go through and get them outside. But whenever you are seed starting, I always start mine in the Park Seed Biodome. I mean, that's what I'm doing with mine today. I'm going to be starting all of mine here in a little bit. But I do all of mine into these sponges right here. And the biggest thing that, oh yay, Paige says all of her peppers sprouted in biodome. Yay, I hope I have your luck. That's awesome. Yeah, typically that is why I always recommend the biodome, because it's foolproof and it always seems to work. So things that I really, really want to sprout or that I don't have a lot of seeds for, I'm like, I need to make sure that each one works. So I put one seed in each hole, and yep, it generally always works for me. It's perfect. And it has this this lid right here, which makes it perfect too. So, oh, I do want to mention. So while I'm thinking of it, Park Seed has a deal going right now for the biodome and like refill sponges and all of that. So if you guys need refill sponges or a new biodome, they have a really good deal going on them right now. I have it featured on the front of our app. So if you scroll down on the front dashboard of the app, it'll pull up the deal. I think it's $29 for one of these. And then, oh, thank you, Dale. He's pulling it up for me. Yeah, right there. So $29 for the whole seed starting system. And then they have the refill sponges, and you can also replace, like, if you need to replace any of this, like this section or anything like that, you can get those as well. But it's 20% off of all of those too. So now's the perfect time. If you are running low on any of that stuff, take advantage of that sale. So, and I do want to mention that yearly premium subscribers get free shipping on all of their orders through the app as well. So if you don't already have yearly, you might win today. We'll see. Drum roll for who gets to win. So if you need that yearly, let us know. Okay. So yes, I go through and I start the pepper seeds in here, and I just drop one seed in each hole. It works perfect for me. And then I will just go through, and I actually don't have it set up here. I have an area in our garage where I have several heat mats set up. And here I have a picture. Yeah, right there. So I have these heat mats set up that I put the biodome on top of. And if you have a heat mat, I highly recommend using it for starting peppers, because it is super, super, it'll save you a lot of time. It will make germinating them just go a lot faster and smoother. Now, if you don't have a heat mat, it's not to say that they're not going to sprout for you. It'll still sprout for you. It's just going to take a lot longer. And if you have a heat mat, it's just going to go a lot faster and quick. So whenever you're starting your seeds, pop them on top of something warm, keep them in a warm room or a heat mat. And then you can go ahead and turn it off once they sprout, as long as you are in a warmer room and it's not too cold. But you can go ahead and turn that heat mat off once they've all germinated for you. And then whenever you are going through, before you plant them outside and take them out there, I know we talked a little bit about the weather. You want to make sure that the weather it's nice and warm out. You want to make sure that the weather is consistently, like, the lows are above like 45 at the lowest, 45 to 50. You definitely want to make sure that they are going to be going into a warm environment so they will succeed. But over the course of like a week or two before you get them transplanted out, you want to gradually start to take them outside and do the process that is called hardening off. So this is where you take like a week or so. Every single day, you're going to gradually increase the amount of sun, the amount of weather it gets, the amount of everything, the amount of time that it's outside. So you just want to gradually increase every single day until it is used to being in the position that it's in. So over the course of at least a week, I do like a week to 2 weeks sometimes, just kind of depending on how the weather is. And like today, I wouldn't definitely not be taking it outside because it is extremely windy out there and it would not be good for them. But whenever I am going through, I pick and choose my days. So I have a nice warm breezy day, maybe that would always be good for it because you do want them used to the wind. But that again is one of the main reasons I always have a fan in my seed starting area. Let's see. Desiree says, my first year, you recommended putting them over the vents in the house. It does work. I just have a toddler now, so it isn't an option for me at the moment. Yeah, that's a terrific. I love it. I'm so glad it worked for you. Yeah, our toddlers, I like, because we have some lower rows down here, and I had to completely remove the ones on the bottom because they kept going up and like, just, ooh, what is this? And I'm like, no. So they are probably one of the biggest pests that I deal with in the garden. Okay, let's see. How can you harden off when you work every day? Okay, that's a great question. So, what you can do is, you can start the process over the weekend too. Hopefully, you have the weekends off. Um, and then maybe by the time you're hit on Monday, you can kind of put them in like a shaded area in the morning. And just gradually, if you give them plenty of shade or filtered sun, you don't have to worry quite as much. One thing that we do, like we have these PVC dome hoop houses that we will sometimes just put our peppers underneath because it does help to protect them from the sun and from extreme wind and things like that. So we can put things underneath in protection essentially. So that way we don't have to worry quite as much about the weather. Yeah, those right there. Thank you, Del. But we use those. I mean, and you can have like them underneath insect netting if you need to, or shade cloth and things like that. So if you give it a little bit of protection while you're gone, or even just place it in an area that's like against another plant to where it gets a little bit of shade and just support from something else, like that will really help there as well. Okay. There you go. Okay, so I do want to mention too, I have right behind me this picture was from last year, but I mean, still same thing. I do have a pepper going back here and tomatoes and all of that. Like, I do want to mention that you can grow these indoors too, believe it or not. I feel like whenever anybody talks about peppers, right, we always talk about just just outdoors. I mean, but you can grow them indoors too. It's amazing. So I grow these kitchen mini varieties. There's a kitchen mini, I mean, they have all sorts of different colors, and I grow all three. They have a green, yellow, and orange, or a red, yellow, orange, green. Yeah, all four, because the green one is the spicy one. Like there, it's so cool. Like you can have all sorts of little tiny plants. Like you can see how small it is. It's not super large, and I have it in a 1 gallon smart pot, just right over here on our windowsill, and a little tray underneath it to catch any extra water, and it does incredible. Now, I do have a little bit of extra light on it because we have a lot of large trees out there, so we don't get a lot of sun in here, but it's probably our sunniest window. So it was the best place to grow. Plus, it's in the kitchen. It's like right off of our kitchen. I'm in the dining room right now, but it's like right there. So if we ever need a pepper to grow, we go pull a pepper from the, like, it's so perfect. It's so convenient. So I wanted to throw that idea out for you guys too, because you can grow peppers in the middle of winter that way. It's incredible. And like right now, I was just telling Dale, I was like, hey, we have some fruit over there. We have tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that. Like we can be using. It's awesome. I love it. So that is one idea that I wanted to share with you all too. I did see somebody, as I was talking, I saw somebody ask something about fertilizer throughout. Um, but one thing that we do like to use is actually this Espoma tomato tone fertilizer. I know it says tomato tone on it, but it works perfect for peppers also and eggplants at the same time too. So it works for all of them. But we use this for our peppers as well. So not just our tomatoes. We will use this Espoma tomato tone for our peppers whenever we go out to. And every couple weeks, I'll just go out there and I will put a little bit of this like in the base of like just right around the base of the plant. I'll just sprinkle in a little bit, kind of dig it in a little bit, mess it, get it in there. Um, and that's really all I need to do. I do sometimes, depending on the size of the peppers that I'm growing too, sometimes I will do some sort of like caging for them. It really just depends on the size of them. But we actually we we moved over all of our tomatoes to those square ones because those square cages work so much better for us. But that meant that we had all sorts of these like round ones that we had previously that we were using for the tomatoes. We're like, these work perfect for our peppers. So we use sometimes just those round tomato cages. It works perfect for the larger ones. There's also like little supports that you can use too for your peppers if they need it, because sometimes they can get pretty tall and pretty large, and they might need just a little bit of extra support, something just to kind of lean up to. But it is definitely, you can definitely grow it any way you'd like, which is amazing. They're very resilient. And I have a slide for common problems, but I will say very rarely will we have a lot of issue. The biggest issue that you may see is, I have a picture here of aphids. So you may see some aphids, but if you do some companion planting and encouraging of ladybugs, you hopefully will not be having all sorts of pest issues. Things that I put around my peppers are typically things, it's a lot of the same things that I put around my tomatoes. So I do a lot of basil and marigolds. I do dill, and like all of those will help also to encourage the ladybugs and just pollinators in general. So I do a lot of this very similar companion planting for peppers as I do with tomatoes, and that helps so much. It really does. Um, Something else that people commonly will say is that, like in the heat of the summer, they'll be like, "Oh no, my peppers aren't producing anymore," or they'll say like the flowers are falling off, things like that. So typically, like in the heat of the summer, these peppers they're not going to give you a lot of fruit unless you are doing a lot of things to try to keep it cool. Like maybe if you give it some afternoons shade, so a little bit of break from the heat of the day, things like that. But it's generally, in the peak of the summer, we just know we're not going to be harvesting a lot of peppers. But whenever the temperatures start to come back down and they're not over 100 anymore, then we'll start to get more peppers. So they can be temperamental in the extreme heat if you get a lot of heat where you are. But really, those are probably the biggest issues that you're going to see is just maybe aphids, spider mites, things like that. But again, a lot of companion planting is really going to help you out with that. And then harvesting, which is the best thing to talk about, right? If you have any sort of peppers, you will want to harvest all of them, I know, at the same time. But whenever you are harvesting them, just keep in mind too, if it is so like on this picture right here, I pulled this one because it had some of the green and red. So if you want it to grow to full maturity, and this applies for like jalapenos too. So you want it to grow to the color that it is supposed to be at the end, and it will be the spiciest as well at the end. Um, but if you can eat it pretty much at any stage. So I can pull this one over here, I can pull this green, I can pull the red, all of that. But just know, like, different colors, it's just going to taste a little bit different. Not a huge difference, but you can definitely harvest at any stage and have any sort of color you want. And using and preserving, one of my favorite things. So we use, and I would love to hear what you guys would do about, or what you all do with all of your peppers that you grow, because we grow an overabundance of peppers. I love them, and we grow so many, and we definitely go through and we have to preserve a lot because we can't eat all of it. So we do some things like, I love doing like jalapeno poppers, like bacon wrapped. Oh my gosh, so good. Oh, I want one right now. And sometimes we just chop them, eat them fresh with our meals that we're doing, add them to a wrap, add like a little spicy to anything. I mean, there's so much you can do with them. And we do a lot of different preserving too, because it never fails. If you grow a couple pepper plants, you are going to have an overabundance of them. So there's several ways that you can go about preserving them. You can, here, I actually pulled one of these too. So this is crushed red peppers. So you can kind of see here, this is stuff that we made from just drying peppers and then crushing them, like running them through just a little ninja. And there we go, crushed red peppers that we made ourselves. It's really awesome. But this was super easy to do. We have a dehydrator. We just dehydrated the peppers, which, here I will say, if you do dehydrate peppers, make sure that you do it like in your garage or somewhere that is not inside the house, because we did that accidentally once, and we're like all coughing. We're like, why are we coughing? And yeah, it was definitely not great. So do this in the garage. um, Other ways you can go about, I've ran them again through like a food processor and lay them flat into the freezer, and that way you can freeze some. And I pull them out fresh. So pretty much like anytime I'm sauteing like onions and garlic, like I'll grab just some of the frozen peppers and pop them into the pan also. And it works amazing for that. One of our favorite new ways to go about preserving and eating them last year was by pickling them. It was incredibly easy. And all we did was just pull, like, I mean, it's really just like half vinegar, half water ish. I have recipes for all of these in our Seed to Spoon app, by the way. But it's really just, I mean, it's just some vinegar, and I added a little bit of garlic into there. And then I did like just these sliced peppers, and they taste incredible. We were pickling everything last year because they were just so good. I loved it. And it's super easy. You don't even have to pressure can them. You can do them in a water bath, and it works amazing. So it is by far just, it's super simple to preserve also, and you can have it year round. I mean, we still, like, to this day, like, I actually pulled a can out just the other day, and we used some of the pickled peppers that we had. It was amazing. Oh, okay, Sarah. So she's confused about why you shouldn't dehydrate them in your house. So so the spiciness, like, you can smell the spiciness of the peppers inside. And if you don't open up a window, you will start like coughing. Like, it'll make you cough. It's kind of the similar way of like, if I were to open this up and smell it right now, like, it would make me be like, ooh, like, you know what I mean? It's hard to describe, but you know what I mean? Like, there's just this feeling that you get. And yeah, that's the feeling that you will have if you have them in your house dehydrating. I hope that makes sense. It's really hard to explain, but yeah. Okay. Yes, the spiciness fills the air. It's very true. It definitely does. Okay. I know I covered a whole lot of information about all sorts of different pepper topics. They're really quick. But if anybody has any questions, please pop them up now. Okay. So Malia says, after several years of great harvests of hybrid bell peppers, I tried heirloom varieties last year and not one survived. Oh no. Are heirlooms harder to grow? Um, yeah, they definitely can be sometimes. I do feel like a lot of the time, like the hybrids are actually like bred to be easier for you to grow. Um, just more like disease resistant and in general, like they just tend to be easier, more heat tolerant, things like that. Oh, we prefer the sweeter peppers, not just the green bell peppers. Yes, I love sweet peppers. Not even just necessarily bell peppers, but like just the peppers that are sweet. I love them. I am personally a fan of, I mean, I don't really like the extreme spicy ones. I leave those for Dale. And then I will do like the mild jalapenos and the sweet ones, like you said. Like there's several of amazing ones um, that I just love. I love just the sweetness of it too. I agree. Okay, Julie says, when we transplant peppers, should we bury them almost up to the leaves like tomatoes, or does it matter? So these are different than tomatoes. So with tomatoes, yes, you definitely do want to bury them really deep. Now with peppers, I mean, you can bury them a little bit deeper than where the base of the plant is, but I wouldn't go super far on them like tomatoes. Just, I mean, just in general, a little bit over where they are whenever you're transplanting them out is perfect. Okay, what is the difference between hybrid and GMO? Okay, so hybrid ones are ones that are it's just two regular plants that you have that are cross pollinated with each other. So you get like good traits out of both of them. So both have like some desirable traits, and then they just cross pollinate them. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's we use hybrid all of the time in our garden as well. Now, GMO is more like that is whenever they go into the lab and they're like scientifically going in and adjusting the genetics of it scientifically and things like that. So, I mean, typically you're not really going to find GMO seeds. I know at Park Seed you won't find any GMO seeds. I know some places might have like one or two GMO, but it's pretty rare to find any GMO ones. What type of soil do you plant them in? So, what we do for our pepper plants, we have just our basic soil mix that we use, and we use this for our peppers and pretty much for our tomatoes, for every plant, pretty much. There's just a few exceptions, but we do what's called Mel's Mix, which is a one third of vermiculite, one third of coconut coir, and then a one third of compost. So it's a really good mixture. It has everything that they need. It's very aerated. And it retains moisture really well. So that's what I always recommend. If you can do like some sort of Mel's Mix or something along those lines. Okay, Michelle says, how often do you water your pepper plants? So typically, I mean, if I have a basil plant right next to it, the basil will tell me whenever I need to water that bed. So it's super helpful because the basil will show me that it needs water before the peppers do. So whenever the basil looks droopy is really what we do. But I mean, really, if you stick your finger in and all the way like up to here, it's dry, then I mean that's a good sign that you need to water. Um, in general, I feel like over the summer we're probably watering every day. Um, I mean, right now, well, I guess not. I wouldn't have pepper plants out right now, but right now we're not watering every day. But I mean, whenever it's super warm out is when we will do every day. And then we'll kind of back off whenever it's not as warm or if it's overcast or if we're getting storms or things like that. But yeah, typically in the heat of the summer, like we're doing every single day. Okay, Malia says, which size biodome do you use for tomatoes and peppers? Do tomatoes need the 18 cell? Great question. So for the pepper, like I'll show you, I got the 40 cell biodome here set up for my peppers. I've grown the peppers in this 40 cell. I've also done it in the 18 cell too, but generally I do it in here because it doesn't necessarily need all that space. But tomatoes will. So tomatoes, yes, I always start those in the 18 cell. And that's one thing I literally will always do. But I've done my peppers in the 18 cell as well too. But generally, because I start so many peppers, I do the 40 cell for those, and then I do the 18 cell for tomatoes. Okay. Do you reuse the biodome sponges or do you plant the sponge and seedling together when you up pot the plants? Great question. I get this question all the time. So whenever you have here, I'll show you real quick. Um, right here, there's these holes like right here on the bottom that you can just simply push up this sponge right here. And you will take this sponge with the plant and just plant this directly into either the next container indoors or directly outdoors. Either way, but yes, your seed your roots are going to grow directly through this. So you won't, I mean, there's no like pulling it out or anything like that. Like it is entwined into this. Like you will see, I wish I had some that are ready to pull out and I would show you, but like the roots just grow right through. So you'll know once you pull it, push it out and you see like all of the roots coming through, you'll know exactly what to do. But yes, you'll plant the sponge and all. Okay, Donna says, my pepper transplants are getting so tall. Is it okay for me to leave them in the biodome until ready to go outdoor? I mean, it really depends. Like, I would keep an eye on the roots more than anything, more than the height, and just make sure that they aren't starting to turn yellow on you and that the roots aren't getting too crammed inside because they will not do super well for you if you do that. But I'm sure I mean, I don't know how much time you have left until you're able to transplant them outdoors, but you may want to go through and up pot them if they're getting super large and the roots are starting to grow and take over down below. Oh, Sonia says she loves jalapenos. I have plants that are going on their 6th year. That's incredible. I love that. Sonia, you need to tell everybody how you go through and save them. Let's see. She says, is it too late in the season to prune my peppers back? I see new growth at the base. So I don't know where you're located. I mean, you're probably somewhere nice and warm if you are having them outside already, or maybe you're inside and do that. Let me know. Um, but I think you're probably safe. Okay, so Melissa says fertilizer program for peppers. So yes, that Espoma tomato tone that I showed a little bit earlier, I highly recommend using that. I use that on tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, all of those. Like it's perfect for all of those right there. And it will work amazing. Generally, every couple weeks, I will go out there and I'll just put a little bit of it in at the base. And that's really all you need to do. Super simple, super easy. Yeah. That's all you need. Oh, my Seed to Spoon app membership is 9 days away from expiring. Oh no. Yes. So great question. Will I still have all of my current info? Yes. So even if even if you do not renew any of your subscriptions, you will still always have all of the information that you put in. So don't worry, don't stress too much. It'll all still be there, even if it expires on you. Okay, I started a bunch of hot peppers, bell peppers, and eggplants on heat mats, and I've only had one jalapeno germinate. Let's see, the 8th, 10 days ago. I would still give it some time. And you have it on a heat mat, so that's right. Yes, on a heat mat. So, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried yet. Give it a little bit of time. And I would ask too, like, do you have? So on our heat mats, Parkseed has these like thermostats that you can actually like plug into the heat mat, which is super helpful for us, where I monitor like the temperature of the heat mat because sometimes they can get too hot. So maybe check into, yes, right there. And this is super helpful for us. And it alarms if it's too hot or like out of range, too hot, too cold. So we use these a lot for our heat mats whenever we're germinating things like flowers that need heat, or the peppers that we're talking about, tomatoes, all of those. So possibly too hot, but I would still give it a little bit of time, and my fingers will be crossed for you as well. Okay, Debbie says, should you put the fertilizer in with the seeds when you plant them? So if you are talking about direct sowing outdoors, which I will typically do all of my peppers and start them by seed indoors, and I don't fertilize them at all inside until they at least have like 2 sets of true leaves. And then I will consider, I'll start with like half strength fertilizer and like work my way up. But generally whenever I'm starting seeds, like I don't fertilize them until they hit their two, at least 2 sets of true leaves. Oh, great question. Yes. So once this is done, it will still be there for you to go back in and watch at any time. So I'm so glad that you will be coming back and watching later. But yes, it'll be available on YouTube and Facebook after the fact. And you can be entered in to win again. So after this post, comment in and you get entered in to win. Okay, so Lorenzo says, do you plant the pepper plants in pairs, and how do you prevent cross pollination? So I do. I plant so many different pepper plants, like all over the place. And generally, like I have all sorts of like sweet peppers, bell peppers, jalapenos, like I have them all over the place. So I generally don't worry at all about cross pollination because unless I'm going through and saving seeds for next year, it's not going to affect the taste of my peppers from this year. It just might affect the taste of next year's. Like if I were to save seeds and plant them again next year, I won't necessarily get that same one. You know what I mean? Like it might be cross pollinated then. Um, but if you are going to be saving seeds and you want to make sure that you get the right one, then you definitely will want to make sure that you have plenty of space in between them, so that way they aren't getting cross-pollinated. But generally for me, I'm not concerned about it because I typically will be planting all of my, or starting all of mine by seeds that I buy from Park Seeds. So. Okay, so let's go ahead and announce a winner. So, drum roll, please. Winner. And this person is going to be getting, oh, congratulations, Sonia. She is going to be getting a free 1-year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. And so this comes with unlimited plants that you can log, unlimited gardens you can have, and as well as sending up pictures to GrowBot. You can send identification, pest issues, or if your peppers have any issues, you can take pictures, send it up to GrowBot. And also you get a free shipping on all of your orders too. So woohoo, exciting. So send us an email at info@seedtospoon.net and we'll get you hooked up. And don't forget too, if you guys in the comments want to win, don't hesitate. Like after this posts, go back in and leave another comment so that way you get another chance to win next week. Okay, we have another question from Melissa. What's the deal with cutting the tops of pepper plants off? Yes, so this gets brought up a lot. This is something that people commonly do. I talked a little bit earlier about how some of the plants can get pretty tall. If you do what's called like chopping them, so if you chop like the top half of them off whenever they're younger, it just makes them a little bit more bushy instead of like tall and lanky. So it just promotes them to be a little bit more bushy instead. Now this can delay your fruiting a little bit, but overall, like it's gonna be a more structurally sound pepper. So I mean, it's a really it's whatever you personally want. Is whatever, whichever you want. If you want them more tall, if you want them more bushy, it's up to you. Okay. Let's see. CJ says, do I mix worm castings in the soil or put it around to the base of the plant? Now, worm castings are amazing fertilizer. So if you have worm castings, I highly recommend using it. It's like gold for your plants. They will love it. I mean, both of them really work. You can do either whenever you are transplanting them out, you can put a little bit in the hole, or you can put it around the base of the plant, or you can, I mean, really, however you want to apply it, it's gonna work great. As long as it can get to those roots. Awesome. Well, I think, Dale, did we have any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining. I'm going to get busy planting some peppers myself. So I'm going to get some peppers going. And if you guys have any questions at all, like after this ends, just pop into the comment section of the video once this posts and leave your questions in there, and I can get back with you all on there. Or we are also on like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I mean, we're everywhere. So make sure y'all follow us and join us. We're always posting videos about what's going on here with us, what we're starting in our garden, what we're doing, and all of that. So I hope to see you all there. And we do these live streams every single Tuesday, same time, same place. So I hope you all join us again next week. Thank you all. We'll see y'all next week.